until the end. And that's the thing. A lot of people don't have that, that commitment level. Like they say they do, but they don't.
They don't have that consistency. That's a key word, consistent. If you ain't consistent at nothing, you ain't going nowhere. And any walk of life, like not even just relationships and divorce. If you're not consistent, you're gonna have a lot of problems. What's going on, everybody? This is Theodore Campbell and Bianca.
Hey, everybody.
And we are Unadulterated You. Got a new topic for you guys. We figured we wanted to touch on a little bit about divorce. What you think about divorce, B?
I think divorce is a really touchy topic because everybody has their opinions on, whether you should stay in the relationship or, what reasons there are to exit, or, they try to validate if it's okay or if it's not okay. And, it's really an individual choice. And so it's no judgment here from us. We just want to talk about the effects of divorce and separation and all of that on, or what they have on families and people as a whole.
Absolutely. I would say divorce is not a good thing, of course. I don't think there's any time you can really say that divorce is a positive thing. But at the same time, every situation is different. So you're going to handle it accordingly. But one thing I will say about divorce is, and especially with my people that I talk to, it amazes me how many people don't realize that divorce and marriage is actually spiritual. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot more deeper than what people think it is.
But what's even more amazing is that you don't really realize it until it's time to approach those things. Like you go through, and even you may say, like, I know we made a vow to God and all of that. And it's like, oh, it's so loose. The conversation is very loose. And it's like, oh, yeah, we did that. But when it comes down to actually having to process a divorce, it's like, then you begin to recognize the spiritual effects that it has on you. And It's like, oh my gosh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
It's better now. Like if you guys or anybody's married or thinking about getting married, it's better to kind of consider these things prior to, or, having to come or face divorce. It's better to consider the bond that is made in marriage and take it a little more seriously. And not saying that anybody didn't, who's divorced, we all know, but just to know that it's more serious than we've given it credit for.
Yeah, definitely. I know the way I look at it is, we always talk about how God is our heavenly Father, right? So with God being the father figure, when you think about father, you're thinking about like the family setting. It's almost like God is a family man, even though he's not a man, he's a spiritual being, but, it's all about family with God. And he likes that togetherness. And what people don't realize is when you get married, you're actually having a covenant between you and that other person and God. Mm-hmm. So I feel like, of course, the devil doesn't like anything that has anything to do with God. So if you're making the choice to make a covenant with God with another person, mm-hmm. I think there's like a extra attack on you, or maybe a spirit that goes after marriages. Mm-hmm. That's why you see. Yeah.
And I'm thinking even, okay, so you have a covenant with the person, but if there are any children involved, and sometimes, outside family, when divorce comes into play, everybody's affected. And it's a covenant with family all together. And it's just like, it's not just going to affect you or the other person. It's going to just trickle down and be all around. Like I said, some families are really close knit. And so like if those are siblings or, in-laws, it affects everybody. Nobody considers the consequences of the actions until, we already got our foot on the gas.
You're right about that. And I mean, at the end of the day, the devil's job is to kill, steal, and destroy. So of course he wants to destroy something that means something to God. If God is a family, being, so
Yeah.
he understands that covenant that you have with that unity. So I feel like there's a special like spirit that attacks divorce. That's why it's so rampant, and that's why I think you've heard it many times. Many people always hear that story of, well, I was dating somebody and we was all good. Everything was smooth. We got along. And as soon as I said I do, it went downhill.
Yeah, I actually have. It's really awful, but that's real life. That's the real experience of most probably everybody whose relationship ends in divorce. Then
Yeah.
you thought you knew the person, or maybe the person changed, or just these different things came into place where it's like, what happened? You really can't even tell, like, what the heck happened, because everything was all good a week ago, right? Like they said.
Yeah, right.
So I'm thinking, like, man, this is such a heavy topic. Like, it's so impactful. Like, this is a conversation that has to be had, because I really haven't heard, too many people approach this issue. Divorce is
Yeah.
an issue.
Well, I think one big person, I mean, not person, but problem that a lot of us have, and I know I'm guilty of this in my previous marriage, is like you approach marriage the wrong way. It's like your expectations is different. We watch TV, we watch movies and stuff, and they always show this lovey-dovey stuff. But like marriage is a lot of work.
Yeah, what would you say? Like, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but would you say that, like, when you say you're approaching it, is premarital counseling necessary, do you think? Or, I mean, I don't know, because I never really attempted that. So I couldn't say, but I mean, I guess from retrospectively, I mean, I guess you should be willing to try. I don't know if you think it's necessary or what.
Well, I don't know if it's necessary, but definitely for the future for me, I would definitely be open to it. I
Mhm.
mean, I'm a little more educated about, marriage now, of course, because I got a failed one, but
Well, is it really?
making sure.
I guess it could be failed. I don't know. I don't like to really, how you
Uh,
say, like, there are no losses, and I don't want to consider it a failure
True.
because you learn.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you talk about my video from the other day where I said no
Yeah,
loss.
your comment. But
Exactly.
there aren't any. This is really all about the perspective, and so I could be on a lower level of the thing where all I can see is what's going on around me. I can't look up, so it feels like a loss.
Yeah,
That's where we
absolutely.
start when we have a loss, any kind of grief, and especially a marriage. Losing a marriage is grievous, or grievous, whatever that word is. Losing a marriage is hard. So, when you're, and I keep using the word loss, but that's what it is at the time. That's the impact that it has on you. And so, going forward, or when you can look up, then you can consider, okay, no, it wasn't a loss. I gained this or that. And like you said, just to be able to appreciate those relationships, the experience for what it was at the time. It served its purpose. But
That's right.
I guess we want to dig back to the divorce part.
Yeah, but like I said before, it's like false expectations, and I mean it goes in relationships too, but of course, definitely with marriage. But I think a lot of people get in relationships, period, almost like putting an assignment on your partner to make you happy,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like that's not really their job if you
Yeah.
really think about it. I mean, you're supposed to be happy, you're supposed to be whole, you're supposed to have, be a different place in your life mentally and spiritually before you even get to that point or on your way to that point. But it's like a lot of people get in a relationship to fill voids that they
Yeah.
have already been missing already. So of course you're gonna be disappointed because, oh, I thought I'm marrying you, you was gonna make me happy, but
Yeah.
that's not their
Well,
job.
this, and this. Even if the person is not doing what they used to do, it may be that the person got into an accident and can't perform the way they used to. on the job or provide the way they used to. You got to be able to be able to function outside of what the person does for you. And so it can't be all about what you're providing for me. I think I'm still kind of trying to get a full definition for myself of what marriage should be. But I know it shouldn't be, all what I can get from you. And when you can't give me that anymore, then I give up.
Exactly.
Then I have to let you go. But we don't realize, like what you said about kind of looking to people to provide this happiness or provide certain things that only God could give to you or only God could instill in you. We don't realize that we're looking to that person, I believe, until after the fact. And
Yeah.
that's where the disaster is. So yeah, counseling may be necessary. It may not be premarital counseling, but I think it is good to talk with someone and kind of get a fullness of yourself. Like we keep talking about, it's all
Mm.
about, getting into the know about who you are before even engaging in something so serious.
I'm glad you said what you said earlier, because actually, if you really think about it, most people approach marriage selfishly, because it's pretty much, what can I get out of it? What is this person going to do for me? Do they make my life better? And that's pretty much where you go wrong, because how can you get in a marriage thinking selfish when you're becoming one? This is supposed to be a teamwork thing, a together thing, but you're thinking just on what you benefit out the situation.
Yeah, like I said, when you can't benefit from it anymore to the capacity that you're used to, then you're ready to give up. But what about all the people who you've affected at this time? You know what I'm saying? That's totally selfish. It's
Oh
totally
yeah.
selfish in marriage. Like I told you, I'm trying to get a full definition of it for myself because it kind of means different things to different people. But to me, marriage should be selfless.
Yeah,
It's that
definitely. Yeah.
unconditional love that's I'm not gonna quit on you and you're not gonna quit on me because something's not going the way I think it should go. Like that's so immature. Like, but I'm laughing because it's like I've been there. Not really necessarily. Well, yeah. Hold on. We got that give up thing. Like sometimes we just want to say forget it.
Hmm.
When you say it, I don't know that it's. First of all, be careful for what you ask for because if
Yeah.
that's what you're asking for, you're likely gonna get it. But on the other hand, also just having that no drive, no determination, or no way to cope. You don't have any skills to cope with, when things don't go the way they're supposed to go. You
Uh-huh.
you only have a plan A. You don't have a B or C. What I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Yeah.
Oh, this plan A didn't work. We got to cut this out. We got to call it quits. Like I don't, and then unforgiveness too.
Hmm.
What do you think about that?
Well, unforgiveness.
Yeah, like if I was to do something that you feel like, okay, that's a deal breaker, it's like, and you don't forgive the person, so then the deal is broken.
Well, I mean, that kind of goes back to one of the videos we had. It's like, are you so high on yourself that you the same grace that you ask for God, mercy and grace that you ask from God or from even other people, but you're not willing to issue that same mercy to another person? Like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and it's not for anybody to be taken advantage of or
Hmm.
stepped on. It should be always that one is or one another are giving towards each other. Being able to feel each other some type of way while we can be whole separately. But
Hmm.
it's not like it shouldn't be like you did this 4 times and this is it. I'm never gonna, like who does that? When you're in
Exactly.
marriage, but people do that. I don't think that's fair. I don't think it's acceptable
No,
that
absolutely not.
you've done this 4 times and it's over. No, I think that God did create marriage for to even prove a greater lesson of how unconditional His love is to us. Because this is a prime example of how we're supposed to love each other. Like I know this person from top to bottom, and you still love them.
Yeah.
And even in their brokenness, even in their worst, at their worst, that's the vows that you make. And so you should be willing to commit to it. And I would never, ever, 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 ever encourage divorce. Like we don't want anybody to be like in an abusive situation or anything, you know, we have to be safe and protect ourselves. But even if it's emotional abuse, you know, that has its limits, period. But, you know, I think that if it's some petty discrepancies, like we gotta let that go. Like, when do we like let go? Like, you really want God to let go of some stuff you're doing, but you don't let go of this minor thing?
I mean, it you got to put effort. Like while you was talking, I was thinking about a comment, or not really a comment, but a quote that I had on my page, and it says, "The only place success comes before work is in the dictionary." I mean, like anything that's worth having, you got to work for it. All people, all type of success, whether you have a business or whether you success in your family, whether success in life, you got to put the work in there.
And
I
that's
mean,
so big. Yeah, like the
yeah,
work. Actually, the work trumps knowing the person. I think your phone went out. Yeah, okay.
yeah.
So,
Somebody try to call.
okay. The work trumps knowing the person, because
Mhm.
I only can know you to a certain extent, and you will continue to change. But me still willing to work with you on any end, that trumps any know of, you know, anything knowledge of you that I have. I could just, it's people who have arranged marriages and that last until the end, you know, of their lives, because they are determined to work with the person. They have that same mindset or goal in
Mhm.
mind that says we're gonna be, you know, in this until the end. And that's the thing. A lot of people don't have that, you know, that commitment level. Like they say they do, but they don't.
They don't have that consistency. That's the key word, consistent. If you ain't consistent at nothing, you ain't going nowhere. And any walk of life, like not even just relationships and divorce. If you're not consistent, you're gonna have a lot of problems, and you
So
ain't gonna go very
what
far.
else are we like missing here? Because some people could be really consistent and all of that, but what else are we missing? Like what drives divorce? I'm wondering, and then like we definitely got to come back and touch on the effects of it and the spirit behind it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a spirit attack. I don't know if it's called divorce, but there's a spirit attached to a divorce. And I know me and you had this conversation the other day, and it's like I actually looked it up, and I think it was on Google or something like that. They said that the average person that gets divorced, it takes them 5 years to get over the divorce. Now, when they say get over the divorce, they're not talking about getting over the person. You might get over the person, you know. Let's
Mm-hmm.
face it, they might have gone on your nerves. You might be sick of them. You like, I'm glad they gone.
I'm just playing.
Yeah, is that you be like, I'm glad they
Ooh,
gone,
I
man. I
was
don't have
so
to.
great. Oh, I have so much peace. Oh my god.
Exactly. I ain't gotta smell your smelly feet up in the house and all that.
That's so
But
crazy.
but they talking about like the divorce itself, like the spiritual side. Like you can be divorced. Now, of course, that's an average. Some people might be a little less, some might be a little longer. But we talking years after everything is done, and you're still suffering from the effects of that spiritual bond that was broken.
Okay, so can we talk about it?
I mean, the only thing I can say is not fun. It's absolutely not. It's traumatizing. And this is, I mean, this is a guy telling you that it's
Oh,
traumatizing.
that's crazy because man, it actually is, and it's like I guess to say, do you feel like the 5 year thing is valid?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I haven't got into 5 years, but for myself, it's most definitely traumatizing. And like you said, it may not be necessarily the person, and
Yeah.
somewhat it could be some part, like some part of the person, because you love the person. You would never have married the person if you didn't love them. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I I would hope not. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like losing a loved one for real, because I mean, when relationships end, it's over. It's like um you know, you may not have any more connection with that person at all, any more communication with that person, and you've been with them for years, or it may not even be years. It may be just like you said, that spiritual bond that is taking place that feels like eternity. and it feels
Mhm.
like it's broken, you know.
Yeah,
And that's
exactly.
the devastating part about it. It's like, what do you do with that? Because you can't make anyone do anything, and you know the circumstances or the situation you can't change. You know the things that have happened, you can't change it. So,
Hmm.
what do you do with that traumatizing effect?
I mean that's where you got to lean on God, because again, that's the spiritual side.
Mm-hmm.
That's the spiritual side, and we're not going to get into this topic too much right now, but that's where them soul ties are that
Mm-hmm.
you create with a person.
Mm-hmm.
And them soul ties follow. That's why you have to be careful about, who you spend time with, and especially physically, sexually and stuff. That's where the soul ties kind of get involved.
Mm-hmm. And I'm glad you also mentioned that because some people get married for sex, you know,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
even thinking about any of that, or for money, not even realizing that. I don't know about anybody else, but just you and I talking, it has an effect on you. I don't know
absolutely.
about anybody else. All I can say is for you and me, this is not like a fun roller coaster ride or we having the
Hmm.
best times of our lives or anything. It does have, so you know, you should probably put away those physical things that are drawing you towards a person and actually consider, do I actually love this person and am I actually committed to this person until the end? You know, am I actually committed? Because, like I said, there's so many divorces that take place that are really for petty reasons.
Yeah, yeah,
Nothing that was that deep.
that's true. That's true. Like we said, most people in society now, and I'm guilty, is we get married for the wrong reasons. We watch too much TV, uh all this, uh you get married and happily ever after and all this stuff, but it's not like that. It's work. Like, if you ever seen a person, like if you go to church or someone and they got this story where they've been married for 20, 30 years, that's a great story, but they put in work to get there. It wasn't just some walking in the park
You not know,
holding
it
hands.
could have been that every day they worked. It could have been that some days, you know, may come easy, but just to be honest, it could have been that every day they worked because it's hard to deal with another person or to kind of, you know, mesh. That's something that happens over time that the bond increases. And, you know, just think about when you have surgery,
Hmm.
when they do the suture or when they sew it up, it still takes time before it's bonded together. Like it takes time for everything to come back together. It's not that, oh, we just sew this up or we just get married and we're attached automatically. It takes work and it takes time. I can't just go over here and, you know, think, oh, my marriage is super strong on day one or day 10 because it takes time to get there. It's not going to be that strong on day one or day 10. Like that thing could fall apart. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, that's
Oh,
true.
but that's a part of you said something, I think the other day, something about ego and, you know, being
Oh yeah, I mean, pride and all that. To me, pride will get you in trouble in all areas.
mm,
If you're a prideful person, you definitely gonna have a tough time in marriage, because
mm.
just
See, this is a
somebody wrote it.
humble situation. This is where you lay everything down.
Yeah, somebody showed me this. Like, when you look at the word pride, the middle letter is I. So
Mm,
everything is rooted to that I. So at the end of the day, if you're a prideful person, all you pretty much think about is yourself.
yeah.
So
And
if
you
you're a prideful person
I'm sorry.
going into marriage, yeah, if you're a prideful person going into marriage, you're gonna have troubles.
It's going to be rough. But then again, the marriage may have troubles. But if the person is not willing to humble themselves, they may feel they don't have any trouble. It may be you're going to have trouble, you know.
Yeah.
So it is good to identify if I'm marrying somebody that is prideful or
Hmm.
be able to, you know, I'm not, like I said, I don't really know about the counseling side of things because I know people who had counseling and still ended up in divorce. So that's not
No.
really the end all be all for me. but I would encourage you to be able to, lay down some, maybe, talk about, what commitment means to the other person. Or,
Did,
hey, what's a deal breaker for you? Are there any deal breakers? Oh, I didn't know that. I thought we had vows until the end. I didn't know they were deal breakers.
was it like
You're not gonna
did they go
disrespect the person.
did they go to like a Christian counseling or just regular counseling?
What? Christian counselor.
They went to a Christian counseling and still had problems?
Yeah. That happens. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, it's tough because a lot of people fit under that Christian bracket, but you need to talk to somebody who's gonna keep it real.
I hear pastors, a couple pastors always telling them like, I'm not a counselor. Like, you
Yeah.
go talk to somebody who is certified or licensed to do this. Even though I can lend you marriage advice, you need to talk to somebody who's licensed in this and experienced in that area greater than I am. You know what I'm saying? Because they have better equipped tools to work with the individuals. But, like I said, to each their own, I'm not knocking either way. But I'm just saying, if the two people are not right for each other, or if God didn't put that together, I think that in the end, it's destined not to work out.
Well, if you can't get counseling, what they say is you are the company you keep. So if you can get around some people who have successful marriages, they could tell you like some good pointers and stuff like that. You need somebody in your life to keep it real with you. Like they can come up to you and say, all right, you about to marry this person. Do you know they credit score? You about to marry? See, these are the tough questions people don't talk about. You say,
Do you
okay,
know their family history, or their background? Do you know their mental state? I mean, seriously, do you know?
listen, you ask them all the questions. You want a house or you want to live in an apartment? Do you
Are
want a
you
big
okay
house?
with living in an apartment? Are you okay with renting, or you have a goal to buy? These are things. Those financial things really are break a relationship too. I think I read something about like a great percentage. I'm not going to try to quote it because I don't have it in my mind, but a great percentage of marriages are due to financial issues. That's why they end.
That's why you got to ask them tough questions. Like, do you want a big house? Do you want a small house? What is it do you want? Do you like spending money on clothes? What it is? So this stuff shouldn't be a surprise to you
and
after the fact.
and also like wanting to know that somebody is going to be there to carry their own weight, and know if what is your definition? Should it be 50-50, or should it be 100-100?
That's the questions
Let's
you need
talk
to be
about it.
asking.
And maybe I may be an individual, or you may be a guy that's okay with 50-50. It's all dependent on the two people.
Exactly.
Somebody else may need that 100. I need you to give 100 all the time, and I'm going to give 100 all the time. It depends on the people. But if you don't have these conversations, it's like, oh, we in love. I'm attracted to her. She's attracted to me. And we're getting married. But never understanding that it's going to affect so many more people than you two and all this so-called love that you guys say you have. It could affect generations of people, And when you just said, I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot, but when you just said about it's good to talk to people with successful marriages, I don't think that's necessarily true, because I talk to you often, and it doesn't have to be that the marriage was successful. It's somebody who's gained some wisdom on the subject and, can offer you some sound advice.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I just feel like there's no stupid questions. Like a lot of people think that, oh, I don't want to ask that person that, or that might be too embarrassing. But this is somebody who you about to go in covenant with. Like y'all about to become one spiritually. So how is it a stupid question? I mean, you're really about to really go into something deep. Like this might be the biggest decision of your life. It pretty much is.
Yeah, it's a pretty big decision, especially if you haven't had children prior to marriage and all that. This is going to set the tone for the remainder of your life, because when you have children with this person and, all of this, and even the bad habits and stuff, that's what you guys pass down to the children. So it's good that it's okay to have bad habits, but it's good for you to be able to meet on one accord and say, hey, this is what we don't like, and this is what we don't want to, you know, pass down to our children. All of these are really important conversations to have, but you know, we don't have them. We don't, but I am so glad that me and you can talk about this so that maybe someone can hear this and know, okay, well, oh, I didn't think about that, or, you know, just kind of, or also to know that if you're going through a divorce, if you've experienced divorce yourself, that, you know, you're not alone in that. And by all means, somebody feels your pain.
Exactly. I know. All I'm gonna say is that me personally, I'm divorced. I am totally against divorce. So if you watching this, if like Bianca said before, if there's a way that you can work it out, I say work it out. If it's something small, don't get divorced because somebody left dishes in the sink or they make a mess. Now, if somebody's beating you up or they're abusing you, then do what you got to do, because the spirit realm where that connection is broken is a lot deeper than you think, and it's not worth it.
And it's
So,
wanting to have the reason that that spirit is there or upon marriages is to impact generations to come. Period. It's not just to tear you and that individual apart.
exactly.
No, it's trying to break something between you guys that could be, you know, something big. It could be something that big that you guys birth a child that saves the world. Not like Jesus, but you get it. Somebody
Yeah.
who finds a cure to cancer. But if they break that marriage, guess what? You know, this child now is off track, and the child is needing to go through counseling themselves because they're impacted and they can't fulfill their potential because they're impacted. So I would even say, you know, if it's anybody watching and if they could like let, you know, if you guys are comfortable enough, you know, you guys could watch this video together, because like I said, some things are they can be fixed. You know, some issues aren't really issues, you know, if we sit down and really talk about it. And it can be ironed out, because I think it's important enough. You're important enough, your marriage is important enough, your children are important enough to sit down and, you know, talk about it one more time.
Yeah, but just like we say in any other video, me and Bianca, we don't know everything. We just discussing, and we would like it if you
We only know us and whatever we got going
exactly.
on.
So we encourage you to like, share, and subscribe. Get in that comment section. Tell us what you think about what we said. If you got something to add, put it in there.
And I would say, like, I know this is touchy, so if you don't feel comfortable enough, feel free to send an email to us, and we can talk about it, because, you know, like I said, you're not alone. And I think Teddy and I would definitely be willing to have at least a conversation about it. It's not that we're counselors, but, you know.
Nope. Nope.
Where we can lend you some support or even pray for you.
There you go.
That's the most we can do.
So we appreciate you watching this video. And like we said, like, share, and subscribe. And we hope y'all have a blessed day.
Yeah.